Interest rate hikes, negative consumer price index, a war in the Ukraine, GDP in the negative, housing market collapses, stock market earnings misses, recession confirmed, but the definition has changed apparently. Gas and oil prices skyrocketing, cost of living outpacing wage increases, euphoria, hopium, confusion. All words to describe our recent pump in the crypto markets. These are the things that you need to familiarize yourself with before you make any decisions on entering the crypto market right now. And while you're at it, make sure that you familiarize yourself with that like button so that I know that this content is relevant to you. And make sure that you hit that subscribe button and boom! Bang on that notification bell so that we know it's real. Obviously, comment anything that you want in the relevant sections below. After all, we are in this together, so let's act like it. Now, I do want to apologize. I took a brief hiatus from YouTube for about 10 days because I had a massive, life-changing move that I had to go from the Midwest all the way as far southeast as you could possibly go, which was Miami. We are down here now. It is back to regularly scheduled programming. I appreciate everybody showing up for the videos, and I also appreciate you bearing with me through the move. Now, with all that being said, let's give a brief overview of what the market is doing right now. So the Fed hiked rates again by 75 basis points, making it a 2.25 to 2.5% interest rate for lending. So that is the first time and the most aggressive increase since it has been tracked starting in the 1990s. Wow. So what is this and what does it mean? These are bank-to-bank interest rates. So this only affects the banks loaning each other money, right? Wrong, because if the bank has to pay more in interest to get money from another bank, what do you think that means for you or the end consumer? Banks are charities. They're all about hooking up the end consumers. Not. Those rate hikes will be passed down to mortgages, small business, personal, and car loans. So essentially what I'm saying is watch out for this because it will affect the housing market, and we will cover that in a minute as well. We already know from my previous video that the consumer price index was down 9%, which was higher than the previous month by almost a full percent. We also know that CPI is a measure of the average change over time in the prices paid by urban consumers for a market basket of consumer goods and services. So what exactly does that mean? It means everything is more expensive. From gas to clothes to the Snickers that you eat on cheat day. It's all going to cost more. 9% more. Another thing that we know from my previous video is that the US housing market is starting to decline tremendously over these past few weeks. So the housing market will greatly affect every other market, and it will be the first one to start declining. So make sure you're paying attention for this, because it is an absolutely massive deal. So US GDP numbers came out last Thursday on July 28th. Probably went really well, right? No, not at all. 0.9% in the negative was the GDP for Q2 of 2022 in the United States. And if you couple that with the 1.6% negative GDP for Q1, that signifies but one thing: a recession. GDP definitely fell less in Q2, and it is a step in the right direction, but we still have 3 more full consecutive months until we see what the Q3 GDP numbers will be. So essentially what I'm saying is buckle up. And I also thought that this was interesting. The White House was accused of changing the definition of recession. They basically said that the 2 quarters of negative GDP is not the true definition, nor how economists look at it. Technically, they're actually right about this, and I actually covered that in my previous video where I said everybody be cool. So with that being said, yes, economists don't actually portray recessions in that manner, but the media does, and who do people usually listen to? Not their favorite economists, it's usually the media. Another fun fact about recessions: GDP numbers are all about consumer spending, okay? So if the consumers think that there's going to be a recession, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because people don't want to spend their money, they want to save it. But that actually makes the recession happen. So now let's cover the earnings from the stock market in the last week or two. And I know everybody's gonna be like, it's not correlated, but it is, and we know that. So Snap, they missed on revenue, they beat on earnings per share, stock was still down, okay? Microsoft, they missed on earnings per share and revenue. Facebook missed on both, Google missed on both, Twitter missed on both. We're seeing a little trend here, right? Amazon, huge miss on earnings, barely beat on revenue, okay? Apple beat on earnings per share and missed on revenue by 1/100%. So why does all of this matter? And why are you spitting these numbers at me, Drew? So the reason why this matters is because Apple is one of the largest weights on the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500 index, okay? Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, and Google are some of the biggest weights on the SPY index as well, which is the S&P 500. These earnings misses can drag down the market tremendously, which is why everyone pays attention to tech earnings week. And we now know that crypto is tied to the equities markets, for better or worse, no matter what your opinion is on it. So what actually happened in the market when all of this stuff came out, right? Literally, Bitcoin and crypto pumped when GDP numbers came out, almost immediately, and also when the Fed numbers came out. That doesn't really make much sense. So did the stock market. S&P was up, but it was still down 10% year over year. The Dow is also still down 10% year over year as well. But the weird part is that it's pumped over the past 5 to 7 days. Okay, weird. It legitimately makes no sense that our market's pumped when the largest cap institutions performed less than admirably. This could be what I call a euphoria pump or a confusion pump, being hopeful, essentially. Everybody drinking the Kool-Aid, smoking the hopium, doing the crypto thing, right? Now, a lot of people would be saying this was a sell the hype, buy the news type of deal. It was baked in, or it was priced in before the news actually came out. Everybody was expecting recession. Everybody was expecting negative GDP, negative CPI. Everyone was expecting all of the tech companies to come out with terrible earnings, right? So then the news came out, confirmed the suspicions, and people got comfortable buying again, okay? Now, the problem is that this is a short-term game and mindset. The news will fade, and then the real sentiment comes out usually. Watch for the fade in the coming weeks and months whenever all of this wears off, right? That new car smell. Take it all in, baby. Now let's go over the one other thing that I think has the ability to help drag markets down that most people aren't thinking about and probably should be privy to. So MtGox was an exchange back in the day. We're talking like 7 years ago, right? That all of these people's money was on, and then all of the money got stolen from that exchange, okay? So now they are reaching a settlement for all of the people that were harmed by that. And imagine what that Bitcoin was worth back in, 2015, 2014, stuff like that. Peanuts compared to what Bitcoin is worth now. Okay, so they are actually trying to recover all of this Bitcoin so that they can give it back to the investors that lost it, right? So they actually have about 114,000 Bitcoin. There's over 100,000 Bitcoin cash, and then there's hundreds of millions of dollars in yen that they are technically be paying out to these guys in August. So with that being said, 140,000 Bitcoin essentially is what they have. That could move the market. That's like 8 to 10% of the daily trading volume on Binance's exchange. So if people are saying that they want the trustee to sell that position and then pay them cash, because let's be real, their position is probably worth 20, 30, 40x what it was worth back in 2015, maybe more. Why would that not bring the market down? And do you think these trustees are really going to care about moving the market, or are they going to care about liquidating the positions so that they can pay everybody out and then wipe their hands of this disaster that they've been having to deal with over the past 7 years? Probably the latter, right? So just pay attention to that whenever those MtGox funds hit the market. You can see what could potentially happen from there. If there's not a lot of buy pressure keeping the market up, then we could tank down to 15, 17K pretty easily. So the question is, where do we go from here? It is likely that we're going to pump to 26 to 28K, but it is also likely that we could get rejected at that 24K level. Boom, right back down to 20K. Let the dust settle and then make your position and your decision from there. Cash is a position. I know I say that a lot, but it's true. Being sure with your entry is absolutely critical. Wouldn't it be better to dollar cost average in and pick ETH up all the way down to $800, or even better, $600, hitting it at every level on the way down, getting AVAX at 12 bucks or sub 12 bucks, FTM at 20 cents or sub 20 cents, DAG at 5 cents? Wouldn't that be a lot better than buying it at the levels that it's at now and just throwing your whole bag into it? Again, I'm just the guy on the internet that delivers the message. to you in a fun and entertaining way. I appreciate everybody showing up. Do whatever you want to do. Don't follow me for good. Don't follow me for bad. You know what we're doing over at Wolfer Finance. You know what Drew Wolfer is doing, and I appreciate you showing up for the video. Now, if you got any value out of this video, make sure you smash that like button for me. While you're at it, hit that subscribe button. Boom! Bang on that notification bell. Comment anything that you want in the relevant sections. Thank you so much for showing up for this video. I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, everyone.